It's live. It's live. Allan Aguirre, you're incorrupt about 2 minute warning. That's right.
Did you remind people to register for conference?
I reminded people to register for the conference this morning on the Chameleon Church Show. I'm live now. Okay? How about you don't be talking at me? Hey. So on Monday we talked about, was it Monday? Yeah, today's Tuesday. We talked about how verse 16, if anyone sees his brother committing a sin. All right, so apparently John is saying here that if your brother's committing a sin that does not lead to death, he will ask and he'll pray to God, and God will give him life for those whose sinning does not lead to death. That there is sin that does lead to death, semicolon, I am not saying he should pray about that. Whoa! John is suggesting that if your brother is sinning a sin that is unto death, and we don't necessarily have that list, but I'm pretty certain that sexual immorality is a sin leading unto death. Adultery, fornication, and a list of other type of sexual immoral things that the Bible says are sin, regardless of whether we believe that or not. That's not what we're talking about. So if your brother is sinning or committing a sin that does lead to death, John is saying that he's not saying that we should be praying about that. That suggests some crazy stuff that Christianity would have a really hard problem with. So we're not supposed to pray for certain people or intercede for certain people if they're committing sins unto death? According to the Apostle John in 1 John chapter 5, verse 16. I'm not going to argue with that. Just because I might not understand or agree doesn't mean he's wrong. This is the Bible. John is the beloved apostle, was in the top 3 of the 12, wasn't martyred. I have to defer to him who walked with Jesus versus what I'm thinking, what I think, or what I've been told. See, you might want to try that as well. Verse 17, all wrongdoing is sin, but there is sin that does not lead to death. So there you go. There are sins that lead to death.
The views and opinions expressed during our broadcasts are solely those of the broadcast producers, hosts, and/or guests, etc., and are not necessarily the views or opinions of the Travelog Network, its sponsors, or affiliates.